You know what I didn't talk about for pivotal moments was trolling Ben Carson. I forgot about that. My name is Brandon Jenkins. Most people know me as Jinx. I'm originally from Somerset, New Jersey, but I live here in Brooklyn, New York. And I'm a journalist, photographer, DJ, all-around cultural student. I got my start as a journalist. I was working at a creative agency called Decon, and it used to be in Soho. It was cool, man. They were doing stuff with big brands. At the time, they had a stable of directors, so it was like 13th Witness, Jason Goldwatch, and they were like doing lookbooks for people, shooting music videos. Goldwatch was shooting like a lot of Kid Cudi stuff at the time. And I was just interning, and I was really just happy to be in the building. But eventually they ended up licensing a magazine. It was Mass Appeal. They were kind of relaunching the magazine. And I don't really know what attracted me to it. I think I just knew I've always liked magazines. I was always collecting them, and it was right there within arm's reach. I was like, all right, well, let me try. Luckily, the people that were running at the time were like, yo, come on, you can blog for us and you can write. And that's how I got my start. I was really like lucky. I got schooled by like really talented people and OGs at the same time. My big break was actually probably getting the job at Complex. Mass Appeal is still like a small operation, and Complex, it was huge. I'd gotten hit up by NCB, Noah Callahan Bever, and he was like, oh, like you work with these guys, everyone I ask speaks highly of you, you should come over and rock with us. And I knew the people that were writing at Complex, and I was like, oh shit, like I can't write like them. Video, no one's in video, a B+ is an A+, so I'll try that. And I think my big break in video was actually, it wasn't music, man. It wasn't music or sports or style. We covered the riots in Ferguson, Missouri, and it was nuts. We were talking to people that were our age and that looked like us, and there were kids up there who watched Complex News. They were pointing us out on the street. And because we looked so much like them and were of them and spoke like them, we were getting access that even like places like CNN wasn't getting. This is like my fake office. When I left Complex like end of last year, I kind of did like reset, and I was looking through all these things of like things that had spoken to me, and just going through like old shit at my parents' crib and even stuff in here. And I had to like reset and realize like I've had a ton of influences that have kind of gotten me here. I grew up in New Jersey, so we had Hot 97, like that's it. Like, I grew up on Funk Flex, Red Alert, Camilo, Angie Martinez, which was like, it was right after school, and so I got spoiled. I was hearing new music. All the rappers, it felt like lived in New York, so I was hearing verses in real time. Another creative outlet I'd say is DJing. I'm like still in the very, very, very beginning stages, even though I've been doing it for a while. It's one of those things where I don't make music, and it's about the closest I can get to making music. And a lot of times it's just controlling a party and watching the flow of it. I've been really close to people doing it, and so you get the bug, and then you want to do it too. And it's contagious. I have different creative outlets, so I'd say photography is a big one. It's something I sort of stumbled into, but when I really look at it, I've always been around it. My pops was always shooting photos and always gave us cameras. Back then you could go on a trip for like $20 and be fine, but he'd give us like $20 and a disposable camera. He's like, just fill the camera up and come back home. Working at like a magazine was always like a place where I'm like, oh, there's all these things happening. I'm going on these trips. I might as well capture it for myself. And then it became this thing. I was like, oh, like, I like this. I realized that as a photographer, like people shoot stuff on their camera phones and camera phones feel weird. So when I was first shooting and trying to build up the confidence, I would take a DSLR that didn't even have batteries in it because it had a lens on it, and I would shoot with my point and shoot. Point and shoots feel kind of creepy too. So the lens is something that people saw and they were like, they could understand that. It looks like a camera to them. And so they would get ready to pose, and then I'd bring out my point and shoot. It was like this thing I learned just to survive, because I was like, damn, I'm mad shook to ask anybody. But if I have this big camera where people are like, oh, you're a photographer? And you're like, yeah. I'm just now at the point where I'm starting to realize, like, again, I was just doing things for a long time and not really observing what I was doing. Forward's great, but what exact direction am I going? Because like this and this don't seem that far apart right now, but as you go further, they get further apart. When you're doing too much, you'll probably turn in a lot of work that's C+ instead of 1 or 2 things that's A+. And that's becoming more real to me now, is like my bandwidth is getting tighter about things that I want to do and things I should do. And also my goals are getting longer. Where if you ask me at Complex what I want it to be, it literally adjusted to that role. Like when I was at Complex, I'm like, all right, I want to be Alex Haley for the culture. And then as soon as I left that, I was like, okay, well now I want to do this in podcasting. And so the goals change in what you do, whether it is like trying to capture whatever that essence is. I feel like when I'm playing music or snapping photos or writing and trying to combine them, make content that feels more me. Like I don't want my existence to be like, you do something cool and then I'm telling everybody about A-Track. You know what I mean? I'm like, nah, like I want to make things too. I want to be a part of that discussion, whether people talk about it or not. I'm in this because I had an appreciation. I'm in this because they said there was a magazine in the same room and I walked over there, you know, or someone was like, yo, we're working at Complex, and I had respect for Complex, so I'd go over there. Or it was an ad agency and I'm like, yo, I love these commercials, or I love these music videos, I want to be over there. And I'm reminded of that recently, like, yo, you're in this space because you actually respect and appreciate it. Like, you should add your 2 cents in.